So I've been getting a ton of questions about which brands I recommend, and I've also received requests to make a video about it, so here we are. Now, most of the brands I'm going to be talking about today are actually right behind me. I do use two fully closed systems, and if you can't tell which my favorite brand is by what's on my desk, spoiler alert, it's Light Elegance. I do want to make it very clear that I am not sponsored by any particular brand, not Light Elegance, not any of the brands I'm going to mention here. This is simply my own unbiased experience with actually using them. So here they are. Now, of course, we're going to start with Light Elegance, and we're going to talk about what I love from each brand and what I would love to see, or maybe things I don't love as much. So let's get started. Of course, first up, we have Light Elegance. I do have their entire system, but this is one of the first brands that I tried out when I first got my allergy. Anytime that you mention you think you're developing an allergy, first company you're going to hear about is Light Elegance. A lot of the advice that I give on here is based on Jim McConnell's teachings. Jim McConnell is the chemist, and he is a pioneer in allergy research and formulated his product to be hypoallergenic. Now, I know a lot of people do not like that word because truly there is no such thing as a gel product that won't give you an allergy. But as Jim himself explained, hypo just means less allergenic, as in less likely to cause or flare an allergy, which is true because this product, I have no issue with it at all. The one issue I do have, and I did talk about this in one of my videos, is this guy right here. So now I do have their full-size dot 4, which is an LED UV. But this one here, this is the mini dot, and it did not fully cure Light Elegance products. And I did test this multiple times. I tried different power bricks, and it was kind of the same results. Probably my least favorite product from Light Elegance, but I did end up getting their full-size lamp and have not had any issues since. But the fact that I was walking around with a manicure of uncured products and still didn't get a flare-up just really speaks to how amazing these products are. And the last thing that I wish this brand would do is just add more artistic stuff. So they did just come out with their cat eyes. I've got this one right here, and this entire row here is all cat eyes. But I feel like they could still use some more stuff in the artistic space. I would give my entire paycheck for a sheer collection. I really wish they had sheer nudes. And because of that, I found brand Seaweed Gel. So this is my number 2 brand. And you'll see down here, I have a lot of their collection. Again, this is another closed system. And they do have the prettiest nude shades and the prettiest base shades ever. Here is Jelly Bean. Look at how pretty that is. Absolutely adore it. Same thing with these products. They contain no methacrylates whatsoever. The ingredients are aliphatic urethane acrylate, aromatic urethane acrylate, and trimethyl phosphine oxide, which is TPO. But this doesn't contain anything that flares my allergy. If you are sensitive to TPO, you will not be able to use these. So that is the one thing I don't love. They could go without the TPO, but still a really, really good product. The thing I do not like about this brand is that it's very difficult to do nail art with. So their polishes are a very thin consistency, which is great for easy application, especially of base shades. But that's why I kind of leave it at the base shades, because once we go past that, it's a little difficult to work with for nail art. I do still do it, and it is still very doable, but it's definitely just not my favorite product for nail art. Seaweed Gel also does have a gorgeous collection of cat eyes, but they are not HEMA-free. And I kind of just assumed they were because all of their products are HEMA, HPMA-free, and just free of all methacrylates, really. So I kind of just assumed, my bad. And I didn't look at their SDS sheet for their cat eyes, and this does have 30% HEMA, which is kind of wild because surprisingly, I didn't really have much of a reaction to it. Next up, we have a brand that is woman-owned indie company that I absolutely adore, but fair warning, these products, some of them still do flare my allergies. Here we have Bling Galleria. Now, for the artsy types, which is me, these are the absolute best. She has everything you can possibly think of. Liner gels, chromes, foils, cat eyes, glitters. I mean, this company really does have it all for the artsy type. And of course, one of my favorite products from them, their non-sticky builder gel. This one does not flare me at all. The ingredients were just TPO and acrylate copolymer. That is it. Now, for example, their builder gels I can use with no issue. There are no methacrylates. But when it comes to a lot of the colors and the rubber bases, they do contain dimethyl aminoethyl methacrylate, which must be what is triggering my allergy, because I can use the products that don't contain it just fine, but the ones that do have this will flare my allergies. So just be mindful of that. It's easy to tell which product might be good for you or not, because she does list all of the ingredients directly on the website and on the label, and is very transparent about the ingredients. The thing I'm not a huge fan of with this company is that they do not have their own lamp. So the owner is very responsive on Facebook. I absolutely love her, but she does recommend a 96 watt to like over 100 watt lamp for the gels, which I did do. So I ended up getting this guy, which is 98 watts. And to be honest, it's definitely one of the better Amazon lamps, but I just don't feel great about using a lamp that isn't part of the closed system. And also the wattage, from what I hear experts say, like Jim McConnell, Doug Schoon, that it's not about the wattage, because the wattage just indicates how much energy it's consuming. So for example, with that Furtado lamp, I can definitely tell that it's a lot hotter when I put my fingers in, but that's because it's consuming more energy. I don't know if that necessarily means that it's curing better, but I'm not an expert in lamps. I just know what I've heard others say. So again, that's the only thing with the company, but if Bling does ever release their own lamp, I will absolutely buy it. Great brand. All right, so that is that for my top 3 brands that I use regularly. Now, there are other brands that I've heard really good things about, some that I am actually going to be trying very soon. I will be placing new orders for some new products that I can try for you guys based on recommendations in the comments section. But the last brand that I tried is Melody Susie Flurry, and I do have the whole collection, which I impulsively purchased after I thought these hadn't flared me because I only did 2 fingers. Pro tip, folks, when you are trying gels to see if you react to them or not, make sure you do your entire hand slowly. I would start, one day, and then 2 fingers, and then 3 fingers the next day. It's a painful process, but trust me, it's worth it, because I did not react when I did 2 fingers with the Fleur, but when I did my entire hand, I reacted pretty badly. I don't know what it is in here that I am allergic to, because the ingredients seem pretty clean. I mean, we've got aliphatic urethane acrylate, same thing that's in Bio Seaweed Gel, and then acrylolimorpholine dipetoil. I don't know what that is, but maybe it's that. I don't know, because the rest is just, TPO, which I already know I don't react to, soybean oil, epoxidized acrylate, hydroxycyclohexylphenyl ketone. Again, no idea what that is. So it could be either one of those two. But the rest of the ingredients shouldn't flare me. However, I did notice on the Amazon review section for the Fleur line, I saw many other people who had allergies saying the same thing. A lot of these people only had an allergy to HEMA. So I have an inkling that they are adding HEMA to these, just in such a small quantity that they don't have to list it, and they can still say it's HEMA free. That's the only explanation I have for why I react to these. Anywho, I have the whole collection, and it is still a very, very nice gel. I mean, these are super pigmented. These are perfect for nail art. And that's really what I use them for now, primarily. Since I do have the whole collection, it just gives me a lot of color options. I do have the Melody Susie EOS 5 Pro lamp. This is their professional lamp, and it is the strongest one. And that is what I use with these gels. So I guess it's kind of a closed system, but I can't really attest to the quality of the lamp. However, it was priced like a professional lamp, and I have not had issues with it curing. So I think it's all right, especially if you're using it with their gels. All right, so that is it for my mostly hypoallergenic recommendations. Now, a lot of the comments I received were from people who were just starting out, or DIYers who wanted to know what they could use that was affordable. And honestly, I'm a very big believer that you get what you pay for. Even those Melody Susie gels are about $7 to $8 a bottle. So I don't believe in cheaping out on your products, but if you don't have an allergy and you're balling on a budget, this right here is your best friend. Now, this is D&D, and I used them a lot prior to getting my allergy, as well as OPI. And Funny Bunny is still my favorite shade ever, point blank period. These two right here are professional companies. They are closed systems, and they do have their own lamps, but you can still find them for a relatively good price. Especially D&D, which goes on sale all the time, and you can get the set with the matching lacquer for $5, folks. $5. No excuse. Now, obviously, these do still have HEMA in it. I can no longer use them, so I use them only for press-ons, but they are still amazing. And also, I really just miss their base shades because they have such amazing base shades. I mean, look at this. It's stunning. And the closest thing I've found to the D&D shades is Bio Seaweed Gel, but still. Now, I got this comment that said that I only consider a brand safe if I'm not allergic to it, and that's not true at all. In fact, I just showed you guys 2 decent brands that you can buy that would absolutely flare my allergy. But the thing is, the things that I'm allergic to them because they're common allergens. Good brands know this and they formulate without them, or they formulate with acceptable levels of them. Brands like Beetles, Monolones, or any of those cheap brands have extremely high levels of these monomers, and that's why they're not good brands. So no, a good brand, or what I would consider a good brand, is not just something that doesn't have things that I'm specifically allergic to. A good brand is simply a brand that is transparent with their chemical makeup, that will show you their SDS, that has less than 30% HEMA in their products. And yes, that does try to formulate with the least amount of allergens possible. Generally, just a brand that gives a crap about people's health and that actually knows what they're selling you. Not a brand that will contact you and tell you that they don't have something in their product and then show you their SDS and it's clearly there. Canny and Venalisa. I will be making this video again in the future after I've had the chance to try a few more brands. Remember, folks, that I do not receive any of this stuff for free. I do buy everything with my own doll hairs, and I am a full-time working mom, so I have to prioritize bills and other things in life, and I can only get new products here and there when I have the opportunity to. So just be patient, please. Bear with me. I promise I will try to get to ordering your brand and testing it. I know a lot of you recommended brands to me. Some of them seem really, really good, but I wanted to show you guys what I use primarily in my day-to-day in most of my manicures, especially those 2 closed systems that I use all the time. The rest of the time when I'm testing products, I try my hardest to just match them. If I can find the information, match their wavelength, etc., to one of the lamps that I do have, and I have 5 of them. But I typically only test them one time, and then I go back to using my regular products. Unless I find a product that is so amazing that makes me want to switch to a whole other collection. I hope this was helpful and answers some of your questions. Feel free to leave a comment below. Let me know if you use any of these brands that I've shown you and which one is your favorite. Till next time, stay safe.